Well, let me tell you a bit about a UniqLegal experience. UniqLegal is a new law firm. It was just been born in January 2020 when the COVID started, so we had to move back home from our offices. And well, it was a weird experience, but in a way we were prepared for it because the firm had been planned to be working with legal tech instruments. So everybody had a laptop. We had all the system ready. So it wasn't really hard to work from home. Well, it was in psychological terms, and the psychology of working is very important, as we heard. And I think we will need to discuss a few things about it, because this is very essential. Some lawyers today tend to have the idea, well, if you buy the right software, if you spend the right amount of money and bring in the experts, the IT, legal tech is going to work, and this is not how it is. It's also a new experience in terms of ownership. It's the first law firm in Italy which is partially owned by a corporate client. So Unicredit owns a minority participation. This was something really new in the Italian legislation. The Italian legal system is quite traditional. Well, you know, we tend to rely a lot on the Roman law, so lawyers have a very traditional way of thinking. So accepting this corporate owner, which is also a client, obviously, in this startup phase, was not that easy. So we have these two law firms, leading Italian law firms in the corporate lawyers market, NCTM law firm. I personally started my career in NCTM some 20 years ago, and together combined they own 91% of the UniqLegal. The remaining 9% is owned by Unicredit Bank, the Italian branch of Unicredit. And this was a challenge in a sense. So, well, they provided part of the capital. You see, it's not the main part, but it's clear that they have a voice on certain things, although there's a number of mechanisms in place to maintain and to keep the independence of the lawyers, obviously. Our focus is banking law, as you may understand, and right now it's mainly litigation. And this is a litigation where we are defendants normally. So all the litigation, all the civil cases where the bank is a defendant at the national level. Let me tell you a bit about my experience as a knowledge manager in NCTM. That's why Unicredit chose us, because we had a good experience in terms of legal tech. Back in the days, legal tech was not a definition which was very popular. So, but I saw that knowledge management is still used, and we're still using it. Well, this is 2005, not 15. So it's been 15 years. We started developing using third-party software, adapting it to what our lawyers needed, and creating, well, it's nothing exceptional, nothing so original. It doesn't sound very original today, but in those times, having an online document repository, indexing of the documents, finding and looking for all the documents on a web platform was something quite innovative, but especially the document drafting part, the document automation part was completely unheard of. In the Italian legal market, 2005, people were saying, well, why lawyers should delegate drafting a legal document to a computer? Some people told us, well, they shouldn't do it. You should write and you should compose your own document by yourself. with this experience, NCTM won the Innovative Law Firm Award, Financial Times Award for 5 years in a row. So I think we did something good in those years. It was very innovative. Not everyone understood it, even within the law firm, and this is part of a problem in a sense. This may become part of a problem. But I think we obtained good results. Maybe there was not a lot of competition. Well, 5 years in a row, of course we were good, but other law firms were slow, but when they understood what was happening, we decided 3 years ago to up the ante, to change our game and not relying anymore on a third-party software, but developing our own software, obviously with the help of a software house. We developed this proprietary project management software, but still relying on a third-party software for the document automation. So it was too complex for us, even if we were collaborating with this software house, developing a partnership. We came up with eLibra, this very good software, now quite successful in the Italian market and trying to expand. Just to give you an idea, I just pasted a couple of screenshots. This is a scheduling, it's web-based, so you don't need a standalone application. This is for scheduling meetings, phone calls, the list of the people, and here there's also a document management section in it. But we needed, and we still need, good software for document automation. We had one at the time, and it was quite powerful. It was very powerful, very sophisticated, probably too sophisticated. And this is connected with the psychology of lawyers. You cannot ask lawyers to be engineers. You cannot ask lawyers to deal with complex screens full of information. Over the years, we developed around 50 legal documents templates, and our lawyers used this instrument around 4,000 times overall, which is, I think it's quite a good number. Let's say not every document was as successful. We had complex and simple kind of documents together, and at some point I tried to understand why, for example, the stock and purchase agreement is so successful and the company bylaws are not. What's the reason? What's the reason? My idea now is it all comes down to who the partner is in that particular area. So personal idiosyncrasies, personal ideas. If your senior partner is not very keen, is not very technology friendly, it's hard to use these documents. It's hard to use these instruments. But what we found with the documents that were being used was substantial saving in drafting time. Well, obviously, this is quite easy to understand, and reduction of mistakes. A lot of mistakes end up in contracts because you're tired, because you cut and paste from some other contract. This happens. I like this nice clause, but then I forget to update it and to write it down in the correct way. So what now? What are the challenges for UniqLegal? First problem we have, and this is an opportunity more than of a problem, I mean for good lawyers. I think that in most continental Europe, access to the legal profession access to the legal studies is not restricted. So we end up with quite a lot of law graduates, and so the law firms has a great number of applicants, and this is good for them because they can keep prices low, they can keep their compensation low, but maybe they don't end up with the right people. So that there's a lot of space for gaining efficiency and for hiring the right people. And a good lawyer today must have some kind of technological ability. Well, just let me say one other thing. Falling price, big competition, a huge number of lawyers means also falling prices. And this is not good for lawyers, obviously. But if you can recoup those prices with an increase on efficiency, well, it's still possible. Especially for corporate lawyers, we all know that after the last crisis in the last 10 years, corporate clients want strict control, not only on costs, but also on processes. Clearly, the technological instrument is a very good way to do it. What's the problem we have to deal with in law school? As I say, huge number of law graduates. Some of them just go to law school because they don't like mathematics or they don't like technology. When I show, well, I also teach I also happen to teach in a law school, and most of my colleagues, when I use a spreadsheet, they say like, but are you also an engineer? Are you also technological education? This is obviously, sometimes this is the level. Using a spreadsheet is something that lawyers absolutely not expected to do. And then you have to select the right people. Then we come to the point that I mentioned. There's this saying in Italian, which I discovered it's also in English. The fish stings from the head. That means if something doesn't work, it's not working, probably you should also look at the leadership. And what's been difficult in the Italian legal industry was the involvement of the partners, of the older generations. And this is essential here, and this is a public relation kind of work. Involve those people, those partners that are more sensible, that are more keen, and make them witness, make them say to other people, look, these instruments can work and they can make your life better as a lawyer, so you can focus on the conceptual, on the interesting part of the work, not on rereading for the next time, for another time, the same draft. So this is very briefly, I'll tell you what our first projects with Legito are. So we decided to change this third-party software and start automating the bulk of our work, which now is defense judicial brief. A lot of people bringing the bank to court for compound interest, both on their mortgages or current accounts. We have dozens of legal cases every week at the national level. How can you deal with this? Automation, control on the processes. Next step is going to be assisting the bank branches on legal advice, and we will be starting with bank checks. A lot of problems arise with this old form of payment, but it's still there. A lot of people uses it. We wanted flexibility and knowledge managers who don't have to be also IT or engineers And I think, I hope, and the first tests have been very successful. The Legito has provided a solution for us. Thank you for your attention.